Hey there. So today I want to talk about why I think we need to rethink about how we do preschool and the debate if it should be all play based or if we should have it skill based and if we're teaching our kids to read too soon. If we haven't met, my name's Audrey from audreytutors.com, and I'm here to help parents navigate their learning journey with their kids from young age all the way up to sixth, seventh grade or higher if you have questions. But what I want to do is to kind of change our thinking about how the education system works and being careful that we don't follow a movement that swings too far to the left or to the right, and we consider our kiddos. And one thing that I've noticed is that during the learning period, kids catch on more quickly at different things than other things. And we can't just assume they're going to catch up. And so that's why it's really important to lay that solid foundation from the beginning and having targeted goals that we're helping guide our kids to. And we can do it in a simple, non stressful way, but with intention. One thing a lot of kids struggle with dyslexia. One of the issues is that they have a slow memory and processing. And one thing we can do is to expose our kids to the English code early on and teach things in an integrated way, like EBLI or Reading Simplified suggest, and help them get that repetition and feedback multiple times. So then, when they're going to school and they're being expected to write sentences or to know more, that they have that skill and they don't have that cognitive overload of trying to do these skills while also working on other areas. And when we teach things in isolation, if we start with the letter names and then the letter sounds and then onsets, rhymes, and all that, our kids aren't getting that repetition of how words really work. And what's the cool part of using a speech to print approach is that you can accelerate their learning and they're getting repetitions by building words, manipulating words, and you eliminate problems down the road where a kid has focused so much on rhyming that when you ask for a definition, they give a rhyming word instead of the definition. Or you have a kiddo that's struggling with writing because he hasn't had that explicit instruction and he hasn't been taught. You are able to at a young age show them and give them feedback. And what's beautiful is like you can go with your child's lead. For example, my nephews, they stay with me during the day while their mom and dad are at work, and I introduce them to something and they show interest. And what I found is as I introduce, sometimes they're not interested, and then a few weeks later I'll introduce it again, and then they'll be more intrigued by it. Or we may do a lot of cutting at one time, and then a lot of they want to write their name or different things like that. And so it's child led but teacher inspired in a sense, so that we're building those skills. And I have a few targets for each of the kiddos, and once they get to this skill, then we move them up. And my philosophy is that if we have goals and help our kids experience some of that structured learning time at a young age, one, it sets them up for school if they'd rather be that kid running out in the field or running through the woods or playing music or whatever it is that suits their fancy, that they've got the skills, they've been working on it so it can free up time in the future, definitely if they're homeschooled. Also, it allows for those kids, because we don't know usually until it's too late which kids are going to have reading struggles or not. And so we can set it a good stage of teaching them the proper way, giving them the proper feedback, and building those good habits from the get go in a more relaxed environment where we can do it a few times a week. Sometimes we mix a week, but they're continuing to make progress. And so I think we should think of education and schooling our kids and educating them not necessarily as I've got to teach them everything, but equipping them to be good readers in the beginning and writers and building those skills so then they can go out and select the books about the topics and you can really teach them how to study instead of just finishing a curriculum or finishing a workbook, that you can help them develop those skills to go on the journey of discovering a topic of interest, applying those skills that are needed to be successful in the professional world. And of course, is a continuum, and it's really important to see where you're at and what that next level is. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And in the comments below, let me know, what are your thoughts on um, early learning, and how do you access, or how do you assess where your child is and what goals you're helping them work towards? I look forward to hearing from you, and until next time, have a good day. Bye.